Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishna Nedarim. Today's Mishnah should be a Sechus Merit for Refuah Shalema for Gavriel ben Etel Gita.
Amen.
Okay, Mishnah Parak Dalet, chapter 4, Mishnah Ches, Mishnah 8. Similar to yesterday's Mishnah, where you're dealing with a person, two people, Reuben and Shimon. Reuben may not have benefit from Shimon because, let's say, Shimon made a neder forbidding Reuben from having benefit from him. But now we're going to deal with another scenario where Shimon still wants to help Reuben out. So Yemahalkan Baderech, they were traveling on the road. Ve'ein lema yochal, and the mudder, the person who may not have benefit, who in our case is Reuben, doesn't have what to eat. That was a similar scenario to what we said before. But now we have a scenario where they're traveling. It doesn't have what to eat, meaning the mudder, the person who cannot have benefit. So what does Shimon do for Reuven? Noisein la'acher l'shum matana. You give another person who is traveling with you, let's say in this caravan, the food as a gift. V'hala mutaba. And then the other person, meaning the person who was forbidden to have benefit, is now permitted in it. So again, what's happening here is that let's just again, the names sometimes get confusing, but sometimes it also helps us out. So Reuven may not have benefit from Shimon, but Reuven has nothing to eat, and they're traveling. So Shimon can now go to Levi, a third person who is traveling with them, and give him the food as a gift. And then once it belongs to Levi, there's no problem with Reuven benefiting from it because Reuven is not benefited from Levi. Okay, and I just want to add here, and they're bringing it here from the bottom. If there are other travelers who have extra food, they can give them with their food, and then the Madra may pay them back, as in the previous Mishnah. Okay? Meaning, yesterday we had a situation where you go ahead and you tell other people take care of them. And those other people can now, like in the case of the grocer, right? The guy didn't have any food, he can't benefit from you, so you go to his grocer, and you say to the grocer, you hint to him that the other guy needs food, and if you want to pay him back, you'll pay him back for it. And theoretically, you could have done that with other people here also. If there are other travelers who have extra food, right, meaning they have extra food, they can go ahead and give that food to Reuven, who cannot benefit from Shimon, and get paid back from Shimon if Shimon wants to pay them back. But they say here, however, because travelers do not usually have extra food, the Mishnah offers a different solution. Typically, people don't have extra food when they're traveling. Okay, so therefore, you can't ask someone or hint to someone about getting them to give their extra food to this person who cannot benefit from you. Okay, so therefore the Mishnah says we have a different solution. I can give you a different solution. If there's no extra food around and you want to go ahead and give up your food for this guy, what do? Give it as a gift to another person, and that person can then give it to him. And if that person and give it to him, just 1 second here. Yeah. All right. So, in this case where you're giving it as a gift to someone, that other person, you're giving it to him as a gift. That other person is not going to ask for any payment back. Why should he ask for payment back? He's not laying out anything really. So therefore, and it's understood why you're doing this. You understood that you're giving it to him as a gift so they can give it to that person. And because of that, let's read it. Let me read to you from the one on the bottom here. Unlike the case of the previous Mishnah, this is permitted only when the mudder has nothing else to eat. Since this food actually belonged to the Madr who gave it to someone else only so that the other person will give it to the Mudr, it looks as though the food is being given directly by the Madr. Therefore, the sages allowed this only when the Mudr has no food. Meaning, yesterday, remember, the guy couldn't have benefit from you, and you went ahead and you went to the grocer and hinted to him that he needs food. Now, the Mishnah there also used the words, he doesn't have what to eat. Meaning, why are you doing this for this guy? He doesn't have what to eat. Let's say he did have what to eat. Could you do it anyway? The answer is yeah. You want to hint to the grocer to give him food, and that, and maybe I'll pay you back, maybe I won't. You can do that too. In this Mishnah, though, the commentaries are saying when it says "Ve'ein lo ma yochal," in the case here that you're doing this when they're traveling, You can only do what we're saying here in this case in the Mishnah, that you're giving it as a gift to someone else who will then give it to him. You can only do that if the mudar, the person who cannot benefit, doesn't have anything to eat. Because at the end of the day, right, you're giving it to the third person to give it, you're giving it to him as a gift. It's 100% that's a gift. But we know the intention is so that you should give it to him, to give it to the mudar. And because of that, it kind of looks like the food is coming from the person who may not have benefit from. And therefore, the Chachamim only allowed it in a situation where the person who cannot benefit from you has nothing what to eat. Next. Let's say there's only the two of them. There's no third person to give it as a gift to give to him. There's no third person. What are you going to do then? Put the food on a rock or on a fence and say, this food is hefker, ownerless for anybody who wants it. You declare it hefker. And then the guy who cannot have benefit from you can go and take it and eat it. He's not taking it from you. You already made it hefker. It's not yours anymore. And therefore, he would now be allowed to take it. Same way in the case before, you give it to a third party. It belongs to the third party, and that's who the person who cannot benefit is getting it from. Here too, he's not getting it from a third party, but he is acquiring it from hefker because you declared it ownerless. Rabbi Yossi says, no, can't do it. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. If there's nobody else there, even if you are technically making it hefker, we know who's going to get it. He's the only other guy around here. There's nobody else here. So you know who is going to be the one who's going to be acquiring it from hefker. Since the mudar is the only other person there to take it, it is as though the madra is giving him the food directly. So Beis says he can't do it. He understands technically what you're trying to do. But at the end of the day, if there is no one else here besides that person who can have benefit from you, he's the only person here to acquire it from hefker, that's considered like he got it from you, and therefore you can't do it. That's Rabbi Yossi's opinion. The Tanna Kama says, no, technically I make it hefker, and it is a valid hefker, and because it's a valid hefker, he's not acquiring it from me. Here too, according to the opinion that says you could render it ownerless, again, this is only permitted for someone when it's only permitted in a situation where the mudar, the person who can't have benefit, has nothing else to eat. Then you can do this. Then you can do this thing about making it hefker. Otherwise, you can't, because again, clearly looks like it's coming from you as in before, and therefore it can only be done if he doesn't have anything to eat. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. And the bottom line is,
don't make a neder.